Hey guys, Andy here, and today I will be bringing you a PvP talent build guide, specifically in arenas, for Ret Palis. We'll touch on skirmishes, so that's double DPS of course, usually, 2v2 with a heal partner, as well as various different builds you may like to use against the different kinds of compositions you may come across in 3v3. I'll be going through each talent tier, including the online talents, but to start with, let's go through some cheat sheets and save the discussion for later. Alright, so first up guys is the 2v2 skirmish build. Obviously in skirmishes, you're only facing double DPS, so you want to try and go for the maximum nuke, and of course that relies on Holy Wrath. This will probably be your main gimmick, win button right here guys. And you want to go for Virtue's Blade for maximum nuke and Zeal for maximum cleave. And for the honor talents, the first 10 are fine. I'm assuming if you want a 2v2 skirmish build, you don't have your honor talents yet, so the first 10 will do you just fine. Otherwise, if you've got everything else, you just feel like playing skirmishes, definitely, if you're human, I recommend Adaption. Otherwise, stick with Gladiator's Medallion. I don't say Relentless for skirmishes because you want to get out of some stuns that are short, some CCs that are shorter than 6 seconds. So definitely handy, I reckon, in skirmishes. Reinforced armor, actually just say reinforced armor because the matches are going to be really quick. So you want an extra HP. Sparring won't simply mitigate much damage, and reinforced armor will pay off definitely. Law and Order for sure, gonna need that. Slow is very handy. And I would just stick the last 3 for skirmishes. Okay. Next up, we're just going for a general healer DPS build for rated 2v2s. So this is what I would use. I would not use Eye for an Eye simply because I need that extra damage from Jessica's Vengeance when they get a Hodge on a target, and I can do double damage with Avenging Wrath. Absolutely essential for trying to get that kill. Definitely wouldn't use Holy Wrath. You want Divine Purpose for maximum sustain and overall pressure and damage. For the honor talents, if you're versing a mage or Resto Druid, for sure you want Relentless to counteract that spammable CC. Adaption may be handy if you're versing, say, a warrior that will fear you for 6 seconds. That will always proc Adaption without fail. If you're versing a melee, go Sparring. If you're versing casters, go Reinforced Armor. You will definitely want to stick with Law and Order because that slow is going to be essential. You don't have another DPS to rely on to snare targets. So there is that. If you're versing Assassin Rogues, MM Hunters, or BM Hunters, definitely go Pure of Heart to dispel their poisons. Otherwise, just go Luminescence. Now you'll always want to seek Blessing of Sanctuary to be dispelling your partner whenever possible or at crucial moments. And for overall pressure and damage, again, just stick with Lawbringer. So that is the 2v2 healer/DPS rated build. Now for general 3v3s, if you want to play most offensively and you know you're not going to get trained, this is the build that I would use again. You want Jessica's Vengeance for maximum damage when you stun a target, and as well as Divine Purpose for maximum damage and overall pressure with the procs. And again, Zeal. I will go into why Fires of Justice is not optimal later on in the video if you want to stick around for the discussion. Otherwise, just use this cheat sheet for general 3v3s. I would never use Gladiator's Medallion in a 3v3 unless I was versing a Sub-Rogue and a Boomkin where they can combo Smoke Bomb and Solar Beam and you really need that trinket to get out of there. Otherwise, I would stick with Relentless if you're not human. If you're human, go Adaption because you still have every man for yourself to get out of stuns. And Relentless, if you're any other race, I would simply just choose this in prolonged 3v3s because mathematically you would just be seeding less overall CC in a match. That means you're doing more damage and doing more, just helping your team more. Again, only go with Reinforced Armor if you're playing Holy Wrath, but again, this is a general build. Reinforced Armor if you're playing 2 casters. If there's 1 cast, 1 melee, or 2 melees, definitely go Sparring. Jurisdiction, I would go on very large maps or maps where your partner has a very reliable slow and you can simply rely on your DPS partner to slow a target. Otherwise, on small maps, I would go Law and Order to just simply lock down any targets. They will not be able to move when you combine with Blade of Wrath and your own Hand of Hindrance. Again, Pure of Heart against Assassin Rogues, Beam Hunters, MM Hunters, Luminescence against everything else. Occasionally, you may want to consider not using Pure of Heart against MM Hunters or Beam Hunters, since they know that their poison will just get dispelled. So you may want to go against Luminescence as well against MM Hunters and Beam Hunters. And again, you just never want to shift out of Blazing Sanctuary, very powerful tool Ret Paladins have to dispel their healer or teammates out of stun, silences and fears. So never switch out of that. And again, Lawbringer for overall pressure. I can see Hammer of Reckoning being possibly useful for that extra setup nuke. Just nuke down the target, but again, you'll just be doing more damage and pressure with Lawbringer. Now this last build I would use if I knew I was simply going to be trained the entire match, and if there was a melee, at least one melee player on the other team. So Eye for an Eye for extra damage mitigation, of course, and Divine Intervention and Holy Wrath to try and get the most out of Holy Wrath. And you want to make sure you're coupling Holy Wrath with Reinforced Armor to get the most out of your Holy Wrath. And essentially everything else applies depending on what comp you play, what I've said in the other builds. So yeah, there it is guys. Those are the cheat sheets, and if you want to stick around for my discussion of each talent and what I think is applicable when and where, then please stick around. Otherwise, thank you for watching.